Here. All right. Uh, Running around here, running late. Hi, I'm Patrick. Uh, Welcome to Eight Questions with. Uh, Happy Tuesday. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit behind here. Our guest should be here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll be talking to Joe Leone. Uh, I guess I should grab this because we'll be talking about it. See, running behind. Joe Leone directed. I believe he wrote this. Nope, he directed it. So this is Reap from Bayview Entertainment. I will be providing the link down below uh, for Joe. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I reviewed this film, and what I really liked about it was you could definitely see that Joe is very bright. Uh, he's very skilled. Uh, but what happens with like a lot of excuse me, low budget filmmakers is that they're hampered by money. They don't have a lot of money to spend, and sometimes that affects their movies. But a discerning film goer, film watcher, or whatnot, you can actually see that. Hi, Aaron. Welcome into the show, sir. You can see potential. I mean, you look at George Lucas. I mean, he made what? He made a low budget space film. What was that? TH 1138, I think it was. You can see Steven Spielberg. He did episodic TV. And then he really didn't get on the map until he did a low budget TV movie called Duel. Um, so there's John Carpenter. He started out low budget. George Romero, same thing. It's all about what when you watch it, what can you do with it? Are they going to have a bright future? And for me, Joe Leone is one of those directors. He has skills, and I really enjoyed watching Reap. It's not without its bumps and bruises. Um, but there was one strong actress that he discovered. I believe he discovered it. I like to think so. That I thought was really strong in this movie, and I highly recommend keep an eye on her as well. And her name is Annabelle Lytle, and we'll be talking about that as well. Um, oh wow! All right. So yeah, he'll be here in about 10 minutes or so. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Mine wasn't too bad. We had a really fun show on Sunday with on the Midnight Society. We talked about Jason Lives, our Friday the 13th. Oh, uh, so um, so yeah, I'm sorry. So we did Jason Lives, and now we're going to be doing Jason Part 7, Friday the 13th, Part 7. We're going to be doing the New Blood on this Sunday. I'm also very happy to mention this. Dory, we have replay, Star Lord, and you were missed, by the way, Star Lord. We were looking for you, but we also know a lot of people watch WrestleMania, so we understand. I mean, we like wrestling fan. We're wrestling fans too, so we get it. Uh, but I do have some really good news, some exciting news. Our ISC Midnight Nights, we're going to be back in action this Sunday at 7:30. I'll be posting a link. I'll be posting a banner. It's going to be on Cadaver Club's page. Ben from Cadaver Club. I'll put that. I'm going to put that in the description box. I'm going to make a banner for it on Facebook, and then I'll put it on my Instagram as well. So we're going to be back this Sunday. We're going to be covering Relic. So I will let you guys know about that as well, as far as the time goes. And we have a special guest. We will be joining us. Super excited about that. Yeah, that's what I love about replay, Star Lord. I mean, you know what? That's the beauty of it. Um, you can just go back and really what's really good about it for our format is the fact you can listen to the show as a podcast. You don't have to sit and watch it. You could just turn it on in the background and do whatever you need to do, and it plays like a radio program. Um, so uh, that's the beauty of shows like that and this. That you don't have to watch it. Whereas sometimes you have to watch a video, you have to watch a clip of a movie, someone doing a movie review or whatnot. Um, yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. Uh, let's see. Oh, uh, yeah. All right. Hi, Jamie. Wow. How's your hand, Jamie? How is your hand? Seeing if Joe is letting me know where he's at. Um, he knows the time to fur here, but I sent him the link and everything, so I have not heard from him. To tell you the truth, I'm a little worried. Most of the time, I like to hear from the guest before the show, so hopefully he's all right. Um, he offered to give me his phone number yesterday, but I don't like taking people's phone numbers, as you know. I don't really. I'm just here for an interview. I don't want to invade anybody's privacy or know their number or anything. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Yeah, that's what I look like. That's what it looked like to me, Jamie. It looked like to me like he got bit by a spider. Yep, I've been bitten by those. That's not fun. Well, maybe she'll turn into Spider Jamie. It worked for Peter Parker. Just saying. How are you doing, Kevin? Oh, should go ahead and break out the calendar because you guys are expecting that. So the calendar. Oh, to borrow a phrase, the calendar of doom. How about that? All right. That's probably gonna get me a trademark mark right there for saying that. So in a few minutes we'll have Joe here, and then tomorrow we have Tasha Toscosa will be here. I know I'm killing her last name. I'm totally bummed by that. And then Thursday the 7th, we have filmmaker Franklin Correa will be here, and on the 7th, and both those shows will be at 8 o'clock. Let's see. Next Monday, the 11th, we had to reschedule Holly Lynch, so she's coming back on the 11th of April at 8 o'clock. Actress, professional photographer Holly Lynch. She's got a really good eye for the camera too. Uh, uh, and then on April 12th, we have filmmaker Caleb Baker, who does acting and he directs movies, and he does it while being a active Navy sailor. That's right. He's serving aboard the USS Nimitz. He is an active duty sailor, but he is still doing acting and in filmmaking. So that definitely is going to be one for the books. I can't wait to talk to him to see how he balances everything. So he'll be here with us next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Um, and then on the 13th, we have improv actress and scare actress. That's how she wants to be known. Jenny Aguilar Mickelson will be here at 8 p.m. And yep, can't wait for that. Can't wait for them all, to tell you the truth. Um, it is busy. I love keeping busy. That keeps me sane. And then on the 14th, we have one of the stars of Amityville in Space. Give it up for Amityville in Space and Sharkula. I should have had Al come up and co-host me with that one. Tim Hatch will be with us a week on April 14th. He's a very nice young man too, and he does a lot of films for Wild Eye. He's one of Mark Polonia's actors, troupe of actors. So he'll be here with us on April 14th, and you guys can all come up and ask him questions about about Sharkula, and the picture shows a shark with fangs on it. So just saying. And then also Amityville in Space, which will be coming out during the summer. Uh, that's absolutely going to be bonkers. That is going to be bonkers. Let's see. One quick note here. All right, Joe, where are you, buddy? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Mm. Okay, says this we might be in a little bit of trouble because he has not checked his Instagram in 5 hours. I'm hoping nothing happened to him. It goes from being I hope where he's running late. I hope nothing's happened because that's not like a guest. Not to send any sort of response. So let's send some positive thoughts Joe's way. I just hope he's all right. Mm. Uh, yeah, you think it'd be safe to? You think it would be? Yeah, at least it'd be safe to swim in the daytime. Yes. Uh, shit. Uh, I just want to know if would there be any Blackula Sharkulas, Count Chocula Sharkulas? Um, you know what? You should trademark that, Echo. Frankenshark. I have not seen anybody come up with a title like Frankenshark. You should go ahead and trademark that. I'm sure that SRS or Wild Eye or High Octane they'll come to you for that name, Frankenshark. What was there? It was Shark Exorcist. We had the Shark Exorcist. Um, gosh, we might have to do a. No, there isn't. Is there Frankenshark? That's Mark Polonia. If there's a movie named Frankenshark, that has to be Mark Polonia. No, you know what? I know what you're thinking about, Echo. You're thinking of Sharkenstein. You're thinking of Sharkenstein. No, because I know there's a Sharkenstein out there. Oh my gosh, there's a zombie shark. Let's see. Well, don't forget the Ouija shark. Gosh, we might have to do a shark. We might have to do a shark society, a midnight society on sharks. It's that time of year anyway. I'm gonna ping him and make sure he's okay. Uh, all right. Yeah, you know what? I know that's not. I know that him. Yep. Let's see. When you did your shark werewolf, wasn't there one called whale wolf? Yep, a robo shark. There was yep, you're right. There was robo shark. There was sand shark. Shark with 5 heads, 6 heads. When I did my video on shark movies, I came across a lot of shark related movies. Bad CGI sharks. That one was really fun. Let's see, what other sharks? Oh my gosh, there's so many. You got, I mean, oh, Active Entertainment does a lot of shark movies too. Mississippi sharks. There's Ozark sharks. Wow. Uh, oh crap, he's here. Greetings, my friend.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. We were more worried if you were okay, more than
I,
anything else. It was just like,
I'm
it doesn't matter if he's late or not. I just want to make sure you're all right.
no, I'm here. I'm I'm all right. Everything's great. Sorry.
Okay, good.
I'm just trying
No,
to,
no, yeah,
it was it was
we're not just here. We're not just here for interview. We're here to because we like you. We want you here. We want to hear all about you. Um, we want to talk about re. That's right.
okay.
I got a copy.
Yeah, I know. I'm quite aware.
Yeah. Uh, you, wait a minute. Do you have a copy yourself?
I have several, of course.
You know what? Don't say that though, quite so quick because you know what happens. There's a lot of directors out there who put out their movies for this show. They don't get copies. It's very
Well, I mean,
it's
I had to purchase it at a,
oh,
a discounted rate, but
there
I
you go.
still had,
There you go. That's part for the. There we go. I knew that was coming somewhere. I knew there was a. I knew it was there was something. There was a catch to that.
yeah, of all the
How are you,
distributors
man?
I've worked with so far, yeah, I've had to acquire them on my own, but such is
Well,
life.
after I when I send Peter this interview, I'll just say, hey, you guys should just comp the guy some movies already. After all, he did make it. Um,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know how that works. I always thought that you guys got like 50 free copies for friends and family.
50. That would put a huge dent in the profit margins of the distributor, I think. So,
And you know what? That's exactly what the reaction is too when I say that. I say you should get like 50 copies for your friends and family, and they do exactly the same thing you just did right there. They just look at
yeah,
me like, what fantasy world is this guy in? Because
yeah. No, I mean, maybe a couple, but I'm happy to acquire them on my own.
uh, busy day for you today, huh?
Yeah, I just wrapped the movie and I've been editing it, and I'm working on another script as well, and just there's always a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah, I can see that. I've been really, I'm excited. I liked several elements in Reap. I definitely think you are on the rise.
Well, thank you.
There's a lot here to like.
Mm,
Um,
I saw your scathing review, so I don't know
well, my
if
scathing review was
you know.
it's because you don't have enough money. But that's isn't that generally what happens though for a small budget film? I
No,
mean,
I mean, I also take a lot of the blame on myself. It was the first like normal feature that I directed, and I mean, there's never any money, but but
right.
no, there was a lot of. I mean, it was a huge learning experience for me as a director and as a producer. It was yeah, there was just a lot of aspects that I had, that I in different circumstances could have controlled better, that I would have done very differently. um yeah, a ton of them, but that's that falls on me mostly. I feel like I've hopefully grown a little bit more and been able in my more recent films been able to make do with the lack of funds, and do things just a little differently that have garnered better results, I feel, on the directing producing side.
Yeah, I mean, that was really my, because, I knew the budget was small, obviously, but, you look between the lines, you look and going like, yeah, it was a little, yeah, it was a little bit, it's a learn. You could definitely say it was the learning experience or whatnot, but
Mm.
it's all about the potential. What's going to happen in the future? Like to me, it's like you're kind of director, and you if you read my review and listened to it, I said that too. It says give him some money. It's time to give him some money because
Sure.
you have skills. You definitely have an eye. That's what I really like. That's really what I took away from this, and the fact that the acting okay, but you did find one really strong actress. I mean, that she has a future too.
No, I mean, I can't agree with you more about that. I do disagree that I mean, I found I understand if everyone has their, own opinions on performances and all of it, but no, I mean, no, I personally I found a lot of the actors to be quite good for for their experience level. I was impressed I mean, for me, I don't know, it's like they're my friends and whatnot, but I did think a lot of the performances were good. And again, I'm seeing it not through the eye of an audience, a viewer who's coming in blind objectively, but still I would disagree. I would say that, if I had done a better job in
Mm.
more time management is more of the issue than, even because there's just some things we were just so rushed to do everything that I could have allowed them to have even better performances.
Can you see the chat? Okay, Joe. Can you see inside our chat?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to let you know that people are saying hello, and um, so I
Okay.
just want you to know that. Uh, but we're going to circle back around and talk more about REIT because we want to, and it's a I know what you think, but anybody, I mean, I trust me, I liked your movie. I like your skill set. I think you think you're destined for bigger and better things. I also really enjoyed the actress that you have here. I don't know if that's one of your friends or you cast her or how that worked out, but we'll get to that as well.
Okay.
Because that also is a credit to you as a director. Um, I know there's casting directors per se, but I have a feeling you did all the casting yourself.
I mean,
And
I did everything in, in this.
well, then you get credit for that too. And I'm going to make sure you get that because the actress we'll be talking about here is really good as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, she's going to pop. I definitely see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's on the cusp. I know she just filmed a couple things recently, and I'm confident she'll be very successful.
I am too.
Yeah.
And hats off to you again. Hats off to you for spotting it. That's not easy. That
No,
isn't easy.
there was nothing. I mean, she came in and just like killed the audition. She was just so good. I mean, it was like a zero brainer, like less than a no brainer.
You
Negative
give
brainer.
away all your you're giving all your trade secrets away, Joe. Uh,
There's
all
no
right, so
secrets.
I'm going to ask you the only preset question I ever ask anybody in our interviews, and that is, where were you born and raised at?
Born in Westchester County, New York, like an hour north of the city. Right at the cusp of where Westchester meets Putnam County. So I'm like suburbia meets the woods. So I was still very, very woodsy upbringing. And yeah, I was born there, raised there, and then went to school upstate and came down to the city and have been here ever since.
So you're New York City based then.
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. That's where
Okay.
we do a lot of shooting down here as well.
Um, so what was it like living in Worcester? Is that saying that right?
Westchester,
West?
yeah, it's just the county above New York City. I mean, it's like I've said this before. It's I go a lot of places in the country, and any suburban area, like truly suburban, it's like the houses styles change a little, the roof tiling is different, but it's like, these kind of cookie cutter neighborhoods. It's all very similar. Accents are different, but and attitudes maybe a little bit, but it's a very homogenous kind of feel. I think growing up in suburban life.
Wow, looks like someone else has seen the movie here. We got a question from Timothy about Annabelle. Did she surprise you, or did you have a type of actress in mind already, and she was perfect for the role? Yeah,
You
we
know,
can answer that. We can answer that one.
okay. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, she was exactly what I was picturing for this role. Just someone very like smart, confident. The character or these things. She's that as a person too, but she really did a good job of because there's an I mean, with all the characters, there's an underlying darkness to all of them. And
Yeah.
so I thought she was just very subtly brought that to life as well, not just the obvious. I mean, she's beautiful and striking individual, but she, was able to kind of have that a little slightly callous nature underneath all of the quick witticisms and the exterior veneer of this very like confident person. She still has this underneath thing that's happening, which really I think gives the nuances to her performance. But
Um,
she was
yeah.
she was it. She was always number one for that.
Um, so here we are in Westchester, and now you're growing up. So what came first for you as far as getting into entertainment? Did you think about being an actor first? Were you always a writer first? You're probably a writer first, right?
That's a great question. When I was in my house, I filmed my first thing when I was, I think, 11 years old. I filmed this movie with this doll that I ordered from Fangoria magazine called Baby Stinky. That was like this corroded, evil baby. And my friends and we made, that was my first horror movie. But then, yeah, then I pursued acting, and I was a stage actor in the city here for the first several years that I lived here, and I was always doing writing too. I did sketch comedy. I had my own groups, and then a friend of mine who's a screenwriter, who's very successful guy, who he kind of took me under his wing and taught me, how to do screen crafting. And so then I've been a writer primarily ever since then. And then only in the past few years, 2017, I just decided to like dive in and start making my own projects come to life, which has been quite a fun experience.
Was some of that because as a screenwriter, was it because some of the did any of your plays, did they ever get picked up by anybody else, optioned to anybody else?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like some of the films that I've had produced, like external of my own stuff. They're in genres that there's I do a lot of comedy as well. So I have one comedy that was made called Meant to Be Broken, which I thought came out great, and that's like my voice, and that I'm like super happy with that. And then the other things that I've worked on other films in the writing capacity, they've been genres that are not like my typical genres. There's a movie coming out now called Layers of Lies that I helped the director write, and it's like an action movie set in Iran. So and it's like not my friend made the joke about that, like write what you know. Another guy I work with, he's a Nigerian director, and I helped him with his film called Muna, which is it's like a drama action set, half in Nigeria and then the other half's in LA. So yeah, so some of the stuff I've worked on, it's just not what I even think are my strengths, but that's life. You just kind of go with whatever you can get.
Um, Now, did they keep your script all the way, or did they turn around and tweak it? And
So Meant to Be Broken was the director and his writing partner. They did some tweaks to it, and they improved the script a lot. Actually, they made it more commercial, more they just improved it, and I was happy for that. Um, Another script I optioned like a couple years ago called Half Sisters. That the producers and I worked on it. They optioned it for me. We worked on it for about a year, like 12 drafts. And then the topics, it kind of just kept shifting a little bit and a little bit. It's a thriller. It's like another kind of, I was going to direct this myself because it's set in one location. That was the initial idea of the story. These two sisters who are like hate each other, and they're trapped in this cabin while these people are kind of terrorizing them from the outside. Anyway, so that we worked on that for like a really long time. And then after that, they brought in another, so then they were going to produce it, and they brought in another writer who did, I think he did like a massive rewrite of it. And that movie is out now. That's in well, it's not out yet, but it's in post-production, so it'll be out this year. So we'll see. And I think that from my original vision, that is like very, very different. I think the only similarities are that it's like still in a cabin and there's still the sisters, but everything else got wildly changed.
What do you think your main strength is as a screenwriter? I mean, do you think it is comedy or you think it is horror? I mean, from what I've seen, I think you can do it all.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. I mean, I love both the genres so much that I really, I feel like my strength in like dialogue and everything is in comedy, but I think my strength in storytelling, I'm decent at coming up with, I think, kind of like semi clever ideas for horror scripts. I don't know how great the execution is in that vein. I know I have a few that I think are really solid, and I have a bunch of other scripts that are just they're there. But I think the concepts behind them are cool. I would love for them to get made, just because I think that they're different kind of concepts or things that we haven't seen. So,
Yeah,
hopefully one day.
you said you got behind the camera in 2017. Yeah, I could see that. You mean, because I could see you, wanting to see your own stories and you're learning as you go. I mean, that's
Mhm.
really what I took mostly from Reap, was that the fact that you were learning as you went and you had a vision, you knew where you wanted to go with it. You were just hampered a little bit by the budget constraints and whatnot. It had nothing to do with your ability to direct or set up locations or shots or anything else like that. It's just like some things just needed, and believe me, you're not the first filmmaker that we've talked on here this has had those problems by all means. Uh, it's a growing process. You just now I haven't met very many filmmakers with you with over 25 written screenplays for someone so young. And that's different. That's different. And to me, I think screenwriting, that's a talent. I mean, you really, because that's the most important thing in a film. Not the budget, not the cast, but the story. You're lost without a good story.
Yeah, I totally agree that but like I've always heard, like you can't have a good film without a good screenplay. You could still have a bad film with a good screenplay. Like you can make anything bad,
Oh
if you
yeah,
ever seen
yeah,
the high school
sure.
production of Hamlet, like you
Right,
can take
right.
anything
But did
that's
it
great source material, and so I
right.
just, I try
A
to
lot of
do.
them are just growing into their feet, though, so to speak.
Mm,
They're bad because they don't know any better. They're growing into it. Give it a year, come back, and I bet you they do it a lot better.
yeah.
I and that's what you want. You want to see people grow. But you were writing young, though. I mean, you must have started writing. You said you made your first movie at 11. You must
No,
have
I
picked
mean,
up 10, huh?
yeah, but I started screenwriting when I was like maybe like 23, 24. That's when I got into that. My friend and I, we co-wrote a script together, and then after that I just like was untethered and just was writing all the time. And I really haven't stopped. I write at least 2 features a year.
Uh, what's your process like as about for your write as far as you writing goes? Do you have a set routine that you do when you write? Do you like is it Tuesday and Thursdays or do you write at home? Do you write outside around people to be let it wash let the city wash over you?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, I have to. I can write anywhere, but I remember in the olden times, I would be like writing on the subway. I'd get an idea and I'd be writing on whatever paper I had. This is like pre-smartphones even, and I'd be like running out of paper and writing. But now I mostly just like very cliche Brooklyn. I'm like go to the same coffee shop every day, and I just sit there and I write. I do like to have something happening around me. It kind of helps me focus better. When I'm home, I get distracted. The silence is deafening, or it's just. So I do like to. I have a set place, and I love to write there. But I do it wherever I can, on the plane sometimes.
Uh, See, John's asking. I have some ideas I would like to work,
Mhm.
just to see how others approach writing. Um, if Yeah, I mean, you said you worked with a friend of yours when you first started screenwriting, or someone took you underneath the wing. I mean, had you always thought about writing? I
Well,
mean,
yeah, because I come from this sketch comedy background in college, and I was like, my friend and I, we started a group there, and I was kind of like was running it. We were running it together, but I was like the director of it, and I just was, I was always writing sketches. So and I used to do playwriting back in college too, because I was a theater major. So, yeah, I always was writing. But I mean, I don't know if this helps answer the question, but I mean, I have a very kind of strict process where if I have an idea, I just see if I can fit it into there's some standard outlines that exist out there now that I'm sure a lot of writers work off of. But I just make sure that I fit all of the beats into the outline, and then I just write as full not like a semi treatment, but I write as full an outline as I can, and then I really keep working on that before I start writing the actual script. I don't like write just blind, like, oh, we'll see what happens with these characters. Like, I have everything all set. So when I write the script, then it's like super easy. I'm just like punching in the scenes.
yeah, I know a lot of people. They will they struggle with that part. They'll sit there and they'll start writing it, and sometimes it'll be there for them, and some days it's not there for them. They'll sit there and say one day it's glory, the next day is famine.
Yeah.
So does that apply to you as well, or you sound like you already have an idea of what you want to do and you're able to just to crank it out.
It's well, I mean, but it really comes to like that what you're saying there applies to make the outline. So like I'm not going to write a script. I'm not going to begin a script unless I have the ending like really worked out exactly how I want the ending, because that to me is I just don't see how you can. I mean, you can like get lucky, I think, or some people intrinsically they can just flow, but that's not my style. I just need to. I'll work on that outline. Yeah, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't have an idea for it, so I'm not going to start writing it until I'm like, it's set.
Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, it does sound like that's the way it should be, and because to me, I do think that it's important to have an ending so you can write to that ending. I
Mhm.
mean, and you mentioned making all the check marks. Is there a formula for screenwriting? I mean, like if you write a
Yeah.
romantic comedy, do you have to have like always in the third act? They always go apart and then they come back in for a cute ending. Is that that's like every single movie, right?
Right.
So is
So
it like that for every type of genre movie, like an action adventure? Okay, the hero's gonna have to shoot the bad guy after the bad guy monologues. I got to put
so
that in.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're whatever genre you're in, most screenplays, commercial screenplays, things that you see for the most part, most people are seeing anything in the theater, most things streaming, they all follow kind of a set outline, where this has to happen in the second act, this happens at the midpoint, there's the all is lost moment that you're talking about there in basically every genre. But to answer the other kind of question there, in all the subgenres, sure, there's certain things that have to happen in a thriller, in a horror, in that they don't have to, but if you watch a movie, you'll see these things coming up again and again, time and again, and you'll see even at almost at if a movie's 90 minutes, you're going to see the act breaks, you're going to see the those key
Right.
moments. And yeah, I mean, if you want to sell a screenplay commercially, you should try and stick to that. If you have some brilliant idea that's going to be like break the mold, and the story is just so great, go for it. But it's gonna be a harder climb to get that seen and looked at if it's very drastically different than what's out there already, you know.
Right. Um, have you do you so there's almost it's almost like commercial or indie. You can write either way. You can write for a
Yeah,
commercial product or you can write for indie. You know,
yeah.
I think indie has more freedom, but it's also going to be harder to get made.
It's unless you know, if you're doing it yourself, like I'm doing, you know, then I don't have to answer to anyone, so I can kind of break formulas or whatever. But you know, you see even too when you if you stray too far from the way, you know, the structure, then it's this, you know, it's not just there for a reason, just, you know, to sell it. You know, it's like the story can suffer, you know, and you can, you know, you see that happening in the actual film as well. But yeah, for sure, in the indie world, you always have more freedom. But I would say just be careful with that freedom that is afforded to you because you can go
Um,
off the rails.
what was the first project you directed?
So the yeah, so the very the very first movie I did is called Parched, and it was, you know, I just like, it was 2017. I was waiting on a very big project to come through for several years. I've been working with these producers, and it was supposed to happen. The director was attached, this and that, and then it just kind of fell through. And I was so disheartened that I was just, and at that time I was waiting. I was just waiting on a lot of things. So I said, I'm over it. I'm going to just do my own thing. So I just said, okay, so what can I do that is going to be super cheap and that can be filmed in a way that, you know, I don't need the best camera, I don't need this and that. And I was like, well, this POV horror is still happening. People still are consuming these movies. They still like found footage. You know, this is like
Yeah.
X amount of years after Blair Witch, after it kind of you like kind of peaked. But it's there's still a market for it. So I said I'm going to make this found footage horror movie myself. I'm going to be in it and direct. You know, I'll be in it mostly just so I can maneuver the camera. I'll be the character who's holding the camera.
Oh, okay.
And
Clever.
so I did this movie Parts. I the actors, I found them. They were all great. It was like, listen, I'm nobody. I've done nothing. You want to come with me in the woods and make this horror movie? And it
Oh, that
sounds
sounds
like
like a winning project. I mean, Mom, if I don't come back by Monday,
yeah,
um,
people's moms were definitely checking on them. It sounded like the
were they
sketchiest thing
really?
ever, but they all were like, yeah, let's do it. And we shot it. We shot it almost in real time. The story takes place over the course of one night, and we filmed it like in 24 hours, basically. So, you know, there's a lot of criticism for that one, but it's still dear to my heart. And then that one, because I actually, you know, it came out okay, and I had found a distributor for it at, like kind of after the fact, and so I made a sequel to it, Parts Two, and then what I just filmed now in Tampa, Florida, was Parts Three, which is like bringing it all together, and it's the end. I'm putting that uh,
Okay.
putting that to bed.
Did the parents really were they really scared for their kids?
Yeah, I mean, justifiably so. Yes, they were definitely calling to check on them. And then we
Oh my!
were in like a dead zone. We filmed in my uncle's backyard, which is all this acreage of like woods. And yeah, it was definitely, and there was like wildlife there, deer, God knows what, real owls hooting that are like not like added sound in it. That's like
Um,
real.
I have not seen Parched yet, so can you just give us a little brief synopsis of what it was supposed to be? Because it's found footage. Were they out there hunting for a Bigfoot or something?
Yeah,
Or
so the premise of Parts, and then this is the theme of all of them. It's about the environment. So the story is these kids go to a this abandoned house that one of them is like found out about just so they can party for the weekend. Your most typical cliche, you know, this is kind of like a parody of that as well. So it's like your most cliched like setting. Then they go, there's no water there, and there was initially there was a well on the property. That's what it was supposed to be, but the location I had that had the well fell through, so we shot at my uncle's and we had to use a stream instead. So anyway, so the kids drink water from the stream because they're miles away from, and they can't get any water, so they drink the water. The water turns out to be poisonous. It's like there's toxicities in it, and it turns them all like crazy. But then there's a twist. So then the second one is like Parts Two. There's the same theme of it's a social media influencer. The reason they're filming is because she films everything for her her YouTube channel, and they're at they go party at a lake house. And then a guy who's a chemist, one of his concoctions accidentally gets in the water there, and then it turns them like ravenous. And then just to, not that you asked, but the third one is about, it's called Part 3 Beached. And so there's something wrong with the beach water, and a lifeguard notices it, and she's investigating it.
Okay, so these are all horror comedies then, right?
They're all, yeah, they're all like, the first one is not there's like some comedy. The second one is like, I'd say it's like 80% comedy. There's like 20% horror. This third one is kind of in that same vein.
Sort of like an Evil Dead type of feel, the first one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I of course aspire to be
let,
as good as
let
Evil
me ask
Dead,
you a
but
question. I haven't asked the director yet, but let me ask you this, because Evil Dead's so beloved. Would you have done what Sam Raimi did with the series? You take the first one, and it was very scary and it's very dark, and then the second one had a little bit of comedy elements, but the third one just went off the rails, just didn't even try. Um, do you think would you have done that sort of choice? Is it hard? It would have been, is it, because to me, I like the first movie very much, and I
mhm.
like the remake very much, but it always
Yeah,
threw me
remakes.
off. It always throws me off is when I see like Army of Darkness, or even Part Two, um, because of the comedy. I mean, if he had done a comedy in the first one and established that in the first movie, like, hey, tongue, wink, 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 tongue in
Yeah,
cheek, but he didn't. He made it a straight scary ass movie, and it worked. And then the second one, well, what happens if we put a couple of funny lines in here? And the third one, he just went off the rails.
yeah, and
Um,
then it
so-
became a franchise, like,
yeah, as a director, if you could do the Evil Dead, what would you have done? Would you have kept it straight scary, or would you have would you have gambled and done what he did?
well, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question, because well, first off, there are some people who would say that there are some snarky elements, like in the first one, that there are, it's kind of alluding to some like comedic, it's definitely scary, but it's alluding to some comedic undertones there that then he just kind of went with and ran with for the sequels. What I would have done, I don't know. I mean, if I had any money at all, I no, I would have probably just, I don't know, it's hard to say. I do like them. I appreciate the characters so great, that, and he's such a funny actor that, I don't know, that's like his strength. So I know the criticism there, but yeah, maybe, it could have been done, uh, trying to make it even scarier. But with sequels, it's always a gamble whether they're going to come out.
I actually do feel I do feel for Bruce Campbell, though, in a sense, because he just got typecast. Um, he can bring it as far as serious roles. He can.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody ever watched the show Burn Notice can tell you that. I mean, at first it's actually a reverse. It's actually
Well,
when his character come onto the show, he's there for comedy relief. But by the
yeah.
end of the show, at the end of the series, he's a badass. He's
Okay.
not to be, yeah, he's not to be joked with. It was very interesting to see how they did that with him. But I wanted to ask a director about that, because it always threw me off about that. It's like, wow, he got it, because I mean, there might be some snarky elements into it, but I really think that got pretty much wiped out once you saw the girl getting raped by a brush.
But
Sort of
that's
like
true. No, that's
like,
true.
oh yeah, you're going like, yeah, oh holy shit. And then, but the second, the third one, it just seems so disconcerting to me, and I know that he wrote it and directed it, and I just was wondering, as a writer director yourself, I mean, would
Well,
you would you have done? I mean, would you have made Parch dead serious and then done the same thing, or would you have? Would you just has this stayed? I'm going to make it serious, 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 or funny, funny, funny. I mean, there is some inherent risk in trying to change it in midstream, isn't there?
no, for sure. For sure. I mean, with parts two, I had, I had some elements in it that, on the page were very scary, but it's just that the whole thing was just becoming so comedic that I just had to kind of lean into that as it was happening. I really didn't have a choice, because, I tried to still have a couple of moments, but, um, I don't know. I mean, this is a completely different kind of way of looking at it, but with found footage, it's tough to do the scarier moments. Um, like real legitimately, because you're at the mercy of the set, like the lighting, and it's just it's not like a normal film where you can do mood lighting. You can do this, you can have music in there, and the score is on any film is very like important in setting the tone and doing jump scares. They're all but when it found footage, you don't have that luxury. So anyway, I don't know if I'm getting off track, but just to answer
No,
your
no.
question, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy all those movies, but I do see what you're saying. Yeah, I never even thought about that. I would maybe have really enjoyed a scary Evil Dead too. Like,
Yeah. I thought that when they did the remake, they could have did that too, but they didn't. They played the remake just like the first one. The first one is it's pretty damn serious. It's scary. It's very effective.
I mean,
It's
I
very
thought
it holds up to the first one very well.
yeah, I thought the remake was even scary. It's more of a horror movie, even. So I thought the imagery in it was like really intense, because in the first one, the imagery, all that stuff, they were doing it, like the effects is all super low budget, and they just they made it work. He did a great job with that. But in the remake, if they have a ton more money going into it, so you can see that in the visual effects and everything, which were, I thought, very effective in being
I I
creepy.
personally like found footage films. I'm one of the rare people that she'll probably meet that actually stands up and says, "Yeah, I'll take a good score. I'll take a good." Even though at the end of the movie is sort of the only thing that's rough about found footage is you're pretty much gonna know, hopefully not, but pretty much always someone's gonna buy the farm. It's like there's always gonna be. It's not like someone just picks up the camera and finds the film footage and like
Right,
everybody else went off to happy ending. That's the only thing hard about writing or watching found footage films is, did the person doing all the filming, did they die? Pretty much like they always do. I'm
yeah.
still waiting. I'm still waiting for the one where it's like, yeah, I filmed everything, and I saw something scary, but I'm going to leave my camera here and run for my life. And then you can find it if you want. But
Interesting.
found footage is fun, and a well done one is very fun to watch. Um, and you got a distributor for Parched, right? So we could all get it if we want it.
Yeah, Parts 1 and 2, they're on Amazon. There you can, buy the DVDs if you want, but they're also on a another site called Found Footage Critic. That guy who runs that, we linked up, and he just did a great job, uh, presenting them as well, so you can see them there too. So I mean, it's all over the place. And then, of course, there's all illegal downloads of everything everywhere. You know, all my stuff is in every country. Like, you can Google it and like find it.
Is it pretty much true that piracy is definitely one of the top five cripplers in young filmmakers' career? That
It's
what piracy is just it's one of the five things that cripples a career.
yeah. In fact, I mean, I was just I don't see how there's any way around it. I mean, there's companies I'm contacted by them even recently now that like they house these platforms that like let your it's your screener or whatever be viewed, so it can't be stolen. They're like hyper encrypted kind of platforms, but that's to combat that. And in general, but I mean, once it's out there, it's just like people have technology, they can just yeah. And for a big budget movie, it's like it's not going to hurt them at all, because it's by the time they make all their money in the opening weekends, or they sell it, and that's that. But for a small indie company or just individual like myself, it's yeah, it's not great. But what can you do?
Yeah, that really sucks. I mean, I don't think piracy, I mean, people talk about it, but I don't really think they realize, when they're sitting up there saying, yeah, I ripped it. You did. And not only did you rip it, the movie, but you also ripped the filmmaker. He's the one that brought you this movie that you so are eager to steal. I mean,
Yeah.
how's he supposed to do that again if he can't make any money? Um, I was just wondering if that was do you feel that's one of the five key elements that reason that hurts filmmakers the most?
It's
Um,
it can, but I still there's a lot of other impediments that are even much more,
sure.
that's like at the end stage, that's like everything's done and it's out there already. So, but there's all these things, mitigating factors that are before you even get to, post production.
Where do you think you draw your ideas from, Joe? Are you do you read a lot? Do you have do you have favorite screenwriters yourself? You watch David
Yes.
Mamet?
So yeah, I like Mammy. Yeah, I mean, I like all of the classics. I mean, I come from, growing up, I was a huge horror fan, so I just have this like catalog of horror movies running through my mind all the time. I also was like voraciously reading Stephen King when I was like a teenager. I mean, I wasn't that weird a kid. I mean, I've always been weird, but I like just love King. I still think he's like best in the business, and there's somebody who's like an endless fountain of ideas and like every single subgenre. But yeah, I do. I read a lot of different genres, like, and I feel they always give me something. You know, just there's always some element you can take. I just was reading, the girl with the dragon tattoo, which again has nothing to do with horror on the surface, right? But there's a lot of elements to that book that I was like, yes, this is like stylistically, I love this. And there's just like certain character things. So you're always, as a creative person, whatever you do, you're always stealing from like people that are better and smarter than you. So why
But
not?
I would like to think not to use that word. I don't think it's so much stolen as
It's an
inspired
homage, but it's like there's
like that. I mean, Al saying sounds like him. Horror movies all the time. Oh my gosh. Tell me you don't watch all horror movies all the time though.
I mean, I watch everything. I love movies in general. And now, it's like the golden age of TV, and I'm addicted to like so many shows as well too. But no, I watch everything. It just depends on the mood you're in. I will say though, in the fall or like October, I'm like very entrenched in horror.
Oh, right.
It's
Yeah,
just it's,
I definitely agree with you. Halloween and in November, and Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't know why, but those 3 months, you're right. It's all about the horror.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like Halloween, like the whole October, you're getting into it, and then that sets it off, and then you're just still kind of like sopping it up through November. And
Um, I noticed that you did a short film here. I'm looking at your because I wanted to talk to you about this. I noticed you did your right after Parched, you did a movie called The Letter. Now it's a short film, and now here's my question for you: is do you feel making a short film made you stronger as a director? Do you feel like doing that movie, doing a short, really helped you out going forward?
here's my thoughts on shorts in general is that um they're great for as a director. They're a great thing to do for experience on set, working with actors, working with camera, working with anybody else who's involved. I will say this though, unless you have what you know to be like the such an unbelievable like defining idea for a short, I would say don't put money into it, because a short is not going to go anywhere. I mean,
Right.
it's not gonna it's gonna help if you're using it strictly as experience and as just a way to showcase yourself and be like, hey, look, maybe you have opportunities coming up, and people want to see something you've done. Great, but I would say just be careful with shorts, with like putting money into them and submitting them to like a billion festivals, and it's just I don't know. I just come from the school of thought where I'm like, if I can do a short and produce it, I can do that same thing with a feature, and like it's almost the same amount of energy and effort, and I'm gonna and then I at least have places to go with it.
No, I agree with you. I look at shorts as a perfect training tool for a director and actors. That's how I look at it too. It's like you're right. I mean, you can put a lot of money into it, you could gussy it up and spend a lot of money, send it to film festivals, but what does it really matter? You're not gonna make your money back. I mean
But
it's just it's very hard to get money back off of short.
Yeah. Here's another. Okay, I made another short that I really like this idea. I wanted to do something with vampires, and I knew it wasn't a feature length idea, and I was like, like I'll do it myself. It's called Invite Only, um,
Hmm.
and I because of the nature of what it was, I eventually I was like, I'll just put it on YouTube because who cares, and on YouTube, it like exploded and it has like almost 1.5 million views. And I
Damn.
will say from that, the revenue from that is like $60. So just to put
Oh
things in their perspective.
God.
So I just like
Fuck.
I hear certain people talk about like, oh, they want to like, or maybe this was years ago, like, oh, I'm gonna get YouTube famous, I'm gonna get rich off of YouTube. Like, well, if you're putting it, I mean, so that's where that landed.
At $60. Boy, you know
Of
though,
which of which
but
I
you know
spoke.
what though?
I
There are some filmmakers that we know they can make three movies off that.
That's true.
Al saying, did you say vampires? Yes.
Yeah,
If
lesbian
you take
vampires to
yeah, if
be
you take a good look
specific.
at Al's name, you'll see why he said that.
Oh, I can't see. I can't see who's in there. Um,
It's Al Lucard.
oh, okay, I see comments. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Al Lucard. All right,
You
nice.
get it?
Um, yeah, no, check out Invite Only on YouTube. Let me make another 4 cents off of that. But that's a fun one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me get forth. You're right. You're not kidding. So let's talk a little about REAP because because where first of all, where did you get the idea?
So that was another one where I was just yeah, this is funny. So the original idea came from a friend and I. We were writing a script about well, I can't say too much, it's going to give away the ending, but we were just
Okay.
writing a script about a different topic, and I had an idea for that script where one of the characters would do this one thing and it was like a twist. And then I was like, wait, and it was like a spin-off idea from that, where I was like, what if I have this Grim Reaper character come into a party and basically like the situation is I was like, oh, I see it all playing out. It's like their fate is that they're going to die that night no matter what happens. Like that's so it's a thing about it's just about fate and how you can try and like change your fate. So there's a lot of like philosophical discussions in there in this like this kind of like cheesy indie horror movie, but it's and I put in a lot of philosophy stuff in there too. A lot of it you probably just
No,
gets
no,
faded
I
right
no,
by.
I thought I think that was added some real depth to the movie.
And also like I've always been interested in this concept of moral relativism, which is where like you have morality but it's conditional, and it's like, well, in this situation, is it if I have to kill this one person to save 100, is that right? That's the crux of moral relativism, and I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of put that in the film and all the
Yeah, it'd be
characters.
so. That's yeah. Because you're sitting there, they're all told, all the characters are told that they can save their lives if, and in reality, they can't. I mean, you're right. It's a no-win situation for them.
Right. And the other thing is too, is like, you always have to, when someone presents you with in life, I think a situation that seems too good to be true, it's
Often, yeah.
always is. Like, when has that ever been helpful? When has that ever worked out for anybody?
Hi, Joe. We're gonna give you $10 million for your next movie. Ah, damn! But it's gonna go on Disney Plus streaming, and we get to control everything that you do. Oh well. How much did I get off that? How much did I get off that YouTube video again? Um, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So
I'll,
where did you
I'll,
shoot it?
I'll
Did
take
you?
it, whatever it is.
Where did you shoot your movie at? Because I noticed it was really you kept it pretty much in one location, so it played both as a suspense, as a horror, and like almost like a stage play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's you look at a lot of like super indie movies and you'll notice they're often in one location because that's the nature of of having a limited budget and time. So yeah, we shot Reap in 4 days, like 80 pages of the 90 something were essentially all there. And you know, it was supposed to be 2 weekends, and then I had to condense it, so we had to just bang it out. Did you ask why did I pick that location? Yeah, I mean, I had a couple other places in mind that would have been creepier, would have been like actually I would have loved to have shot there, but they were either like they were too small, they couldn't house the whole cast and the crew, or you know, I had to, again, everything is always conditional on the what you can do with the money and the time that you have. So so we had to do it all there in basically 4 days, and you know, that's that's the end result.
Now,
But overall, I'm happy with how, you know.
when you wrote the script, I mean, do you write your scripts with people in mind who you want to, who, if you could, like to play the roles? Like, you know, like let's say your next movie that you write, would you like, and you have a main character, would you write it to fit Annabelle?
Yeah, for sure. So I read, like, you know, I write two different ways. I write scripts that I hope to option or sell, or you know, that are bigger budgets, and with that I'll write, you know, with like, you know, famous actors in mind, you know, that's the goal. And then the stuff I'm doing for myself, I have this whole, you know, cadre of like these really great actors I've been working with the last like 5 years. So I do write parts with them in mind for sure. I've worked with this girl Remy on several of the projects, and she's phenomenal. And I actually wrote a script that the last thing we shot last year is called Greet Your Demons. That's more of a cerebral kind of like fantasy thriller. It's not as a horror as much, but that I actually didn't have her in mind for the main character, and then she came in and she just demolished it. And I wrote my next script with her in mind, and the character's really suited to her, but I don't know if she's gonna be able to do it now because she moved to LA. So you know, this is life.
Yeah. Where do you now? You said you cast your friends in this. Now, did all your friends have acting
No,
experience?
no, no. I when I say my friends, I meant to say that you know, each time I do them, everyone like who came in, they've all been through auditions. And I'm saying like, so in I did parts, and then the people that were in parts, almost all of them were in Reap, because I'm saying I became friends with them through the movie, and then like
Oh, okay,
most of the
right,
Reap
right.
people I'm friends with now, and then it keeps growing and growing. So now there's like this whole, it's, you know, we have this production company, Parts Productions, which is just like, it's a fake company, but that's what it is. And that's so the Parts team has just kept expanding, and it's been great. I mean, I love all these people. They all bring amazing different.
And you trust them too.
That's the main thing too, right? Whenever I bring someone new in, like I feel like that's probably my best skill, is identifying people who are not only talented but like who can hang in this like ultra indie world, you know, because it's not
Yeah.
just about being good looking or being like such a good actor. If they can't deal with like the circumstances of being in a super indie scenario, they're not going to do a good job, or they're going to just leave. So like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Has that happened to any of your productions so far?
I
The
mean,
the indie set blues were. I've heard some. We've heard actually some of these folks here in the chat. We've heard some doozies. Do you have a story about any of your productions where you lost key members unexpectedly?
well, I do have to say that I would say 99% of the people I've worked with, they've all been great. Like almost every single person has been awesome. So I don't have anything like that. I have had a lot more of this where, you know, I've had someone cast for the production, and then like the day before we're gonna shoot, they're like, oh, I'm sick, or something came up. You know, like I've had that happen, you know, a decent amount of times. But luckily, I've been able to find people either from people I know already, or just or even new ones. Like I just found them, and they like learned all their lines in one day and were phenomenal. So you know, it's, I don't
Okay,
believe
so
everything happens for a reason, but you can make
okay,
lemonade.
Now I want to know this because I'm very much a believer of this, very much. I do believe certain people have that innate ability to pick the right person for the right job. How were you able to pick? How were you? How did you spot Annabelle
And
in your work? How did you? I mean, you see a lot of actors. You know, I'm sure you saw a lot of actors, but I mean, it's very rare. I mean, I'm not really harping on her just to be just because the reason I'm bringing this up is because I mean, and please, no disrespect to any of the other casts, but they're here and she's here, and it's obvious. You know, to the viewer, you could see she's just so much better, and and that happens once in a while. You know, it happens once in a while. Most of the time, it's pretty much even. But once in a great while, you'll get somebody who's just like stands out, and I was just I'm just sitting there going like, wow, she's like yourself. It's like you know, damn, Joe's got a vision. He's got some skills right here. He knows, he's gonna go. He's just gonna go. Um,
um,
and to
yeah.
me, it's like, well, did how I mean, how do you cast your movies? What do you look for? What's that spark that makes it work for you?
I'm telling you, it's like whether it's it's been mostly on Zoom now, but it's still when you see a person, right? First they're going to submit and you'll see their headshot and you're like, "Oh, does this person look right for the character?" Okay, great, let's move on. Then either they audition in person or now, like I said, it's been a lot of Zoom, but still in whatever forum you're seeing them, you've got to identify, if they're going to be work well with you, like if you get along with them. I just think it's such a key thing. And yes, Annabelle's a standout in every way you can imagine. Just like, she's just so lovely and she's so talented and she was super cool too. There's been a lot of people that I've seen that have had those other two first factors, but they were just not even anything negative about them. I knew we wouldn't work well together. So it's gotta be all of those things together.
Um, so let me think about this. Let me reset this next question here. So walk us through after you got Reap done, after it came down, I mean, did you edit it yourself too, or did you
So,
just
Reap editing was a nightmare. I actually had, I was fortunate to find an editor, like a young dude who was, just hungry to like sink his teeth into doing some features. And this guy Elias Connolly, who's now one of my friends, we're close. He's helped me with a lot of the projects, but he did like the main edit of Reap. I came in, like a lot over the course. It took a really long time because we had a lot of technical problems with it. Again, this was something that I, try to learn, as you go on. But we had a lot of sound issues and whatnot. It's things people have complained about. Of course, they're valid complaints. Fine. It's just you're shooting a movie with like like two labs that people are
Oh
passing
yeah,
around.
I read some of those reviews about the sound. It's like, you know what? There's a difference. I mean, it's like, okay, and I was guilty of commenting on the lighting. That was my biggest complaint. Was the lighting seemed a little low, but the sound, yeah, that's I don't
Yeah,
know.
like,
That's
and no, but also with the lighting too. It's just like if we had time. So the cinematographer for Reap, this guy Brad Reap, he's amazing. I mean, he's worked on like he does commercials all over the world. I mean, he's like he has a red. I mean, he has an incredible eye. And so there's like one scene in Reap, right, when the girl at the beginning, the girl's in her room and she gets stabbed by the guy. It's like the
oh
opening
yeah,
scene,
that
right?
was yeah.
So if you look at that, we had that was a day not at the house. We shot that in my parents' house actually. So we had plenty of time. So Brad had several hours to set up the lighting for that shot. It's only 20 seconds of the movie, but it's like if you look at that, all the stuff in that house, he had time to like light it the way he wanted and it looks amazing. Most of the stuff in the house in Reap, was we he had to we had to just get it together and he just was like, listen, I just need to light this so it can be lit because we don't have time to set up. We have to shoot 80 pages in 4 days.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's
I
you see
understand
what
it.
I'm saying? I'm just trying to say, like, it's not like, oh, it's like we didn't know, like we didn't know what to do. It's just like sometimes the necessity, of it was that we just get the shot. Because I kept, and I was struggling with a lot of the crew too. They were like, oh, we have to do this and that. And I was like, well, we can have this perfect, and then we'll have 10% of a movie done, and then that's it. Or we can have it imperfect and we'll have the film done. So you got to choose your
Right. It
battles.
makes sense. I mean, a lot of times you got to remember too when we're watching this, even as a viewer, when we're watching this, we don't know that, you
Yeah, of
know.
course not. I know,
So
and I'm no.
now if now I would actually go back and sit there and say, now I understand, 80
Yeah,
pages. That's nuts, Joe.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
does 80 pages on a feature film in 4 days?
Well, because I was coming off part one where it was like, because it's found footage, so it's a piece of cake to shoot found footage as far as
Right.
like timing, because everything is one shot, right? There's no over the shoulder, there's no two shot, there's no wide, there's no close up. It's just one. It's whatever it is, right?
Right,
So
right.
I
That's
was
the
like, yeah,
beauty of it.
we shot that in one day. Well, this will be fine. And and again, we still shoot. I shot Death Sentences. We shot that in like 2 weekends, basically, but it was a lot more contained. There was only two characters essentially. So, it's you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. Reap was just too ambitious to do in that. Everything about it was
But
too
I
ambitious.
like it though. I mean, yes, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. This is you can see that he left everything behind. He left everything there. I mean, you put everything you had on there, and that's why I said that's why he says you can see where he wants to go and he's going to get there. That's exactly how I felt. But 80 pages, holy shit!
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
then, like I was saying,
I saw a movie on Asylum by James Cullen back. Uh, 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 and I remember watching that. Watching because I listen to director commentaries.
mhm.
I love that. And he was sitting there saying, "Yeah, well, we only had 12 days to make this movie." And I was just sitting to myself going, like, "How the hell do you make a movie in 12 damn days?" I mean, it's just it's absolutely. And then Matt Eskandari, another director, he said, "Well, I could do it better. I'm making a movie." And not only this, he made a movie with Bruce Willis. He made it in 10 days.
Jesus, I mean, I can't imagine working with like a full crew and like and actors who have assistants, and like
Right.
that's really nuts.
It just blows my mind. I mean, the skill level that you have to do 4 days. I
Oh,
mean,
wait,
you're right. I mean, it's going to be a little bit bumpy, but you got it done. I
yeah,
mean, I would expect the movie to shoot in 4 days would have like 30 pages, like, okay,
yeah.
we need minimum dialogue just so we can finish it.
Wait, let me before I forget, because you was talking about Annabelle and what came after Reap. Let me plug Blood Falls, which is the next thing I did right after Reap.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to get Annabelle back for that movie. And that's because I mean I love, since I'm a kid, my family used to go to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween in the like early years, and I like love witches. And so this is a movie. The movie is about, it's a metaphor for being trapped into something that you just, no matter what you do, you can't get out of it. It's about a girl, she keeps waking up from one nightmare into a different nightmare. So it's like
Okay.
a circuitous thing where it's just like she can't, it's just a new nightmare each time. It's a metaphor for work and relationships and all kinds of things. But anyway, you should check that out if you, because it's the only other thing that Annabelle's in that is
Okay.
in my
Okay.
collection.
So far, I'm sure you guys will meet in the future to
Blood
work on
Falls.
something
Yeah,
else.
I hope to one day get money so I can like hire these people for real and give them like real money, and have them be in a bigger production.
Well, you said she went out to LA, so
No,
I'm
that's
sure.
that's Remy, but no,
Oh,
Annabelle is still here, so we'll
whoa,
see what
okay. So
happens.
you still got her for your next projects.
Yeah, I mean, I can't just be like, hey, come do something just random. Like I would have to, like
Yeah, of
make sure
course.
she's compensated, and but again, too, she's a working model, and it's so people. There's only so much that people can give of themselves, um, you know, And I'm so grateful for every person who's been involved in any of the Parch films, like no matter what happened with them.
I'm just saying hello to everybody just came in. Hello, 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 Casey. Hello, Azzy. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. We're talking to writer, director Joe Leone, who's directed all three Parch movies, and also he wrote and directed Reap. So now, will Blood is Bloodfall? Did he also? What's it like working to get a distributor deal now? I mean, it's got to be changed now. Before it's got to be a lot different.
I mean, well, in what sense? You mean like as far as
Is it easier to get a distributor? Is it easy to get a distributing deal, or is it harder now? Or is it?
I mean, you have to look at what's out there, right? There's some places that so during the pandemic, we shot this movie Death Sentences, and then we got a distributor that I thought we were going to that had now, like, if you have a film that's in production, distributors, if you're in a genre, they will contact you because they want content. They're hoping to snatch up good content and make a profit from it. So if you make a feature and it's genre, again, if you're doing some art house drama, that I don't know if there's not really a market for it, but if you're doing a horror movie, you can find a distributor. And it's just what they're going to do with it. So Bayview did Reap. They did a great job. They put out the DVD, and then they put it to the streaming. So now you can watch Reap on Tubi for free. So they get it out there. And then Death Senses, I was surprised that the distributors midnight releasing, they didn't do any DVD. They just went straight to a bunch of streaming sites.
That's all they did for you?
And now that's yeah, but I mean they got it to Tubi now. So that's and just where I'm noticing the trends in the the market are that Tubi has kind of become the go-to spot. It's super it's as far as just like on the back end side for like to Amazon is the worst. I'll just give you a quick little insider thing on producing an Amazon. So when Parched came out, Amazon's structure was it was per minute watched, you make a micro payment from that. And it was like it wasn't bad, and you could actually like make your the movie did okay, you're going to make your money back, and you can even make some kind of a profit. And then as soon as Amazon saw that was happening, they all of a sudden this email comes out, and it's like basically this is the math. If you were making $1 before, now you're making 10 cents.
Yeah.
So it just dropped by like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon went from desperately looking for content and paying for it to all of a sudden they got super wealthy really quick, and all of a sudden it's like now we don't have to do that anymore. Now we don't.
It's just like they got so wealthy that it's just like, why are you hurting the little people? Like you're doing better. Why are you like hurting people? Like
that's Jeff Bezos for us.
But that led to like the Tubies emerging, which are they're doing better payouts, and that's why I think a lot of stuff is migrating towards that.
The only bad thing about that is, and this is the case right here, is I when I got this to review, I get a lot of there's a PR company, and they always write to me and they say, hey, we got this screener for you, we got this for you, got this, and every single time I always write back and I always say, do you have a physical copy? Because I want a physical copy. I don't want streaming. And I say, this is what I know they only have a certain amount of copies, and I'm not a big site. I'm not, I also review for a blog, and if I'm not a big site or anything else, I don't care. I don't care if if you rip a copy and has a watermark on it. I don't care, but I want a physical copy. I don't like watching things on streaming. I just don't. I'm old. I'm old. I like sitting back in my couch. I like to have a little bit of food. I like to have the remote right there, and every once in a while I'll look at the back of the this DVD, or I might want to stop it and come back to it. and I always have it here. I mean, I'm always going to have Reap here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Well,
that isn't always the case with streaming. Sometimes the movie goes away and you don't have it anymore. Um, yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's a great point.
I just don't like the idea that someone's just sit there and distribute the movie and just sit there and say, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and alienate a quarter to a half of your audience by not releasing it on physical media. There's gonna be a lot of people that won't see this movie because it's well, not this one, but Blood Sentence, because it's strictly the streaming. Um,
For
I,
sure.
I
I mean,
mean,
yeah, like the numbers, obviously they're going in that streaming direction. But yeah, that your point is super valid, and I agree as well. Like I always like to have a physical, and I have this mindset too. I'm like, well, what if the internet goes out? Then I've got my huge collection of horror movies that I can pop in. As long as the power's still on, I can pop into the DVD and watch
yeah,
them.
that's also, I've actually heard people say that too. I've actually had a lot of people say that my internet's down and I don't I'm or worse, is when they go to the put in the cloud. They remember they sit there and say your digital code. And the thing is though, you don't have a physical copy. You're paying $25 to have a copy in the cloud. If for some reason that goes away, your investment's gone. And I saw that a lot with Apple iPod.
Mm.
People used to have huge ass libraries and it'd be gone because we're not supporting that platform anymore.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I would never buy a film like digitally. I don't know. That's me personally. I just like for all those reasons.
is Reap a slasher genre? I would sit there and say what supernatural. I definitely supernatural. Um,
A lot going on in it. Yeah, supernatural. I mean, there's like slasher elements to it, but it's not a slasher because the slasher that's the predominant like feature is that
no,
there's
yeah,
like some slashings in the beginning, um, and definitely at the end. But yeah, no, I would say it's more. I would say it's more suspense than anything. It's not than horror for sure, and than even more than thriller. It's suspense.
um, our friend outgoing as he says when he just wants to let you know that he's a big fan of yours and he always will be.
That's
Thank you,
amazing.
Ashley, man. That means a lot, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm sure Joe does too.
Oh, a
Uh,
fan of yours or mine? No, yours.
no, he's a fan of yours. He knows your work.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I
He
my
says,
first fan. Thank you. I
no,
never.
he says, no way. You're talking to Joe. I
I
saw him in
appreciate that.
movies, but tell him I'm a big fan. In no way that you're here. Yep, he's here. He's
That's
here.
awesome. Thank you. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Stay tuned. There's a lot. We have 3 films potentially coming out this year. So
Yeah, let's talk about those real quick. I won't keep you too much longer because I know you're working and editing. So
mhm.
let's wrap this up with let's talk about your 3 movies you got coming up.
Okay. So yeah, real quick. So we have Greet Your Demons, which Remy is in, who is the star of Death Sentences, and a bunch of other familiar faces from the Parch universe.
Nice.
And that's a creepy but like cerebral, almost fantasy. Just the plot is about a girl who's in a coma and she wakes up in her mind, and there's a guide there, this French woman who is basically says like you have to face all of your personal demons in order to like wake back up and join your physical body again. So there's like a self-harm demon, there's a guilt demon, there's a shame demon. So that's what that's about.
I love that genre. I love it's a very small subgenre, but I love it. There's a movie called Ghost Stories on ISC Midnight, and one on a Wild Eye called The Doom Room. Very yeah
I
yeah.
think I've seen both those movies. Yeah.
You seen them both?
Yeah, Doom Room. I just know by title. Maybe I've just seen the cover, but I know Ghost Stories. Yeah, I've seen that. It's great,
Yeah.
phenomenal, really good.
It's
And then the next one is Breakup Mountain, which is like a comedy thriller. It's about a couple that is like can't stop fighting, and they go to a cabin just to like have this final breakup there. And then a guy comes in like asking for help with his car, and then everything goes to hell from that point on. And that's like more of a it's it's like a dark comedy. I'm actually, I think it's great. I think it's going to be really fun. And then the last one, which we talked about before, is Parts 3, Beached. Which again, if you like the first two parts, you'll like this too, because it's got a lot of the same elements, and it's even funnier. I think it's just a good time.
Now, will the Parks movies be get a physical release, or has the first two already been physically released yet?
Yeah, so that was the first distributor I ever worked with, called Meridian Releasing. So they actually, yeah, because they got I sent them parts two because parts one had been out already, and they were like, you know what, we'll put out both of them, we'll stagger it. And I was like, oh great, So I'm sure I'll be talking to them about parts three, and I don't know, I'm open to, we'll see what happens where it goes. But
Yeah,
I'm
well,
hoping,
I think
yeah, I'm really hoping to get, to your point, I really want to ensure I get the DVDs released, because it's just fun for me and the actors to have them too.
sure. That's another thing too. Like I said, I mean, it really. I remember the first time I asked the director. I talked to him, and I talked to him on him and I were talking on Twitter, and I told him how much I loved this movie, and it's one of my favorite Blu-rays. It's like, I got I said I got sent a Blu-ray, and I reviewed it, and I said I just love your movie, and he goes, you got a Blu-ray? And I go, yeah, they are the distributor sent it to me, and well, you have, he says, how many did you get? I said, oh, I just got one. I said, I said, he says, okay, it's one more than I got. I was like, damn, I didn't know that. He says, no,
Yeah.
I didn't get a movie. I didn't send me one. And I was like, how the hell does that happen? It's like, I thought that would be the first thing that you would get in your deal. It's like, here, we're going to sell, we're going to make this many units. We're going to put them here. And then, oh, by the way, you get 50 for, 50 of these to do whatever you wish for, whatever you want. If you want to sell them on a convention, if you want to sell them on your website or whatever. I mean, a director should get
Mm.
something, and so should the actors. Um,
Well,
yeah, you watch your work on Amazon for 4 cents. That sucks. That sucks.
on YouTube, yeah, or Amazon. Well, now everything on Amazon you have to rent for like 50 cents. I just have that's You'll notice a lot of like these super indie movies are all migrated to that. There, you can't just watch on Prime anymore because there's no point for us. It's just like, just watch it for free. So it's like, give me 50 cents at least that I'm splitting with Amazon. Give me a quarter to watch my movie. Thank
Is
you.
that what they're doing now? They're getting rid of the free service? I wasn't aware of that.
No, you'll see. Like if you go to Amazon, a lot of movies that used to be on Prime, just like streaming, that you have to rent them. And I'm saying like a lot of the like parts one you can rent for $1 or 50 cents, whatever it is now. So
Oh, okay, okay. Well, you know what? At least if they do rent it like that, at least they'll more likely stay with it. And that's all right. That way they can see, they can see your work, and
it's an excellent point too. Yeah, because if you have a movie that maybe it's like a slow burn, or it's like where it's just it's got some elements that aren't amazing, but the ending's good. Like if they stick with it, you may be surprised.
that was the problem with with Amazon in the beginning. It was a lot of times people would, well, if you watch this movie to a certain point, to a certain point, to a certain point, then you would hit more money. And a lot of times people will come in and they'll just watch the movie. If they're not instantly wowed within the first 10 minutes, they would just bail out and go to the next one. And
Yeah.
then you're stuck there going like, man, you didn't even watch 10 minutes, and you don't get anything for it. That isn't right.
Yeah,
So,
what irks me is that like I don't care. Watch the movie, you don't like it, like share your opinion. Great, it's like it's democracy, it's freedom of speech. Do it, but I hate when people are like, "I watched 2 minutes and turned it off. Worst movie ever." I'm like, all right, well, okay.
no,
You watched
no,
2 minutes.
you don't have to worry about that. I mean, like I said, I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm excited. That's why I was really excited for the interview because, like I said, I definitely believe you're destined for greater things, and it's going to be fun watching your career grow, Joe, for
I
sure.
appreciate that, your statement very much. I appreciate you having me. It's really excellent to be here and just get to chat with you. It was really fun, and I'm very thankful. Namaste.
Uh,
Great.
and we will talk. We'll have you back on sometime soon. Maybe for the end of the year, we'll have you back on, catch up with what you're doing, see what's going on in that busy mind of yours and the creative mind of yours. And yeah, we'll do it again.
Amazing. Sounds good. Yeah, hopefully I'll have something out by then to push.
Um, Just stay right there for a minute. I want to say to the chat, hey, thanks for so much for hanging out with us tonight. Awesome interview. Appreciate your support tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with actress uh, Tasha Tascosa. I'm sure I'm killing her name. I keep on saying that. This young lady has a awesome resume. I'm so happy to talk to her. She's done some Bad Shark movies. She's done a lot of kooky stuff and a lot of fun stuff. So, and she also finished a movie called Amber Road with former guest Mike Ferguson, who's been on the show a couple of times. They just wrapped that movie up this weekend. She'll be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And then on Thursday, the 7th, we will be having none other than filmmaker Franklin Correa. He'll be here. He's actually in your neck of the woods. He's in Boston. And he'll be here at 8 o'clock on the 7th. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay right you're at, sir.